Hello there, God's owners, YouTubers. It's been a while since I made a video. It's one of them nights where I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning and can't sleep. Been doing a lot of internet like most of you have. Checking out the usual things like we all do. I guess the most prevalent thing these days is Comet Elenin, which is I guess worthy of our attention these days. Elenin. Well, I guess everybody's seen everything on the net just about so far about it up to this point. What I think about Comet is Elenin is, probably this thing is going to come and go and leave the end of the world watchers flat, as most things today. Primarily, I think this because so many of these types of things are happening. We seem to be in a process of being desensitized to them. And also, the powers that be love to make Christians who look towards and forwards to the end of this world to be foolish. And there's no doubt in my mind that everybody that is teaching sermons and giving warnings and so forth about Comet Elenin will definitely look all the more foolish if Comet Elenin passes and we can't even see the damn thing, or if we can't, it just passes without being a big deal. After all of the internet and Christians, as well as non-Christians, after all the big deal they made about it, it just kind of fizzles out, which is probably what happens to most of these types of things. However, that being said, I think it's important we still watch. I think it's important that we still take note. Jesus does come like a thief in the night. Probably, I've never seen a thief in the night come with a lot of fanfare. Never seen a thief in the night come when the guy that he was coming to was expecting it. So, I guess mainly for that reason, I'm thinking it's going to fizzle my nizzle. Just got through reading the boards. Man, we just did some Farrakhan vids on the God Zone the other day that Bro No End has put on there, and I think they were awesome. I think, to me personally, they really filled in a lot of where these people's energy comes from, and I think Farrakhan did a great job of trying to dethrone the Masons and the Shriners from their what's the hell's that word, promiscuous seat of power, that's the right word, and put himself in it. I guess that's going to be the gist with just about all of them. They can all point the finger out why that people who's in these seats of power shouldn't be there, and then turn right around and try to put themselves in that seat. As always, I guess that's kind of interesting. And it dawned on me during that, and I kind of touched on this in the post, that I'm thinking that's exactly what the bones of Moses is probably all about, why Satan wants those bones so much. Satan, of course, is to me, many times, man feels the requirements for being Satan, doesn't he? I mean, man's often, all too often, evil and dead, spiritually dead, and it seems to me that seeking those bones is a way for him to obtain a connection between the living God. Because, nobody wants to be the red-headed stepchild of the spiritual world. Everybody seems to want to be the Son of God. When we say son, I know in biblical terms there's no term for grandson or grandfather. So when we say son, we mean the generations on down. But it seems that everybody wants to be that son. Everybody likes to preach that they're, if not them specifically, their leaders are genetically somehow hooked to God. You got the shaman that does it with what came out of the great red dragon and their old tellings. You got in the pyramid land, they talk about the travelers that came, and that's where Ra's pops that came from. The hands down there in Mexico with the pyramids say the same thing about the Anunnaki, that they were descended. I mean, it just goes on and on. You can see it all throughout the whole world. Everybody has a need to be genetically linked to God. Again, people just taking their eyes off of the spiritual things and putting their eyes on the dicks, which is to me where the genetics come from. Because we can see the dick. Forgive the roughness of the talk, but I mean, there it is. It's the flesh. It's that connection, and it just goes on and on forever. And I think the more I think about that scripture about Satan chasing those bones, used to, when I hear that, my mind always first went to DNA. And after watching those videos and receiving those things that were coming to me, I'm now going to say, when I see that scripture, we're possibly just talking about the devil's own lust and need to genetically be hooked to God, to be the Son of God, therefore to claim the throne of God. Because what father in our eyes doesn't at some point move himself from the seat and his son take over the seat in some way, fashion, or form? So I guess, for that reason, the flesh of man has a lot of problems with that. So I got a lot out of that vid, and I enjoyed watching Farrakhan dismantle the meanings of the shrine itself, and kind of point us out to where they are keeping the bones of something that they feel is descended from God, which in his term was the black people in general. I guess he feels that it's his people through Hiram Abiphram that they obtained that, and that's what that old story meant. Of course, naturally, as a Christ man, we are to keep our eyes on Christ. And though it's good to know about Hiram Abiphram and about what happened from the Masons and all of those types of things. In fact, I started out yesterday morning when I was here going through these old secret books, but everything is written down in code, which is interesting. I mean, some words are in code, some words aren't, but it's an interesting book. I think most of the Masons and Templar things are interesting. Don't mean that when you read those things that you're accepting that as your belief system. But I think in this time, the more that we know about these people, the better off we're going to be. The more that we can take in about what they know, the safer your heart is going to be, and the more well guarded you're going to be, and the more focused your eye is going to be on Christ. I think that's very important. So I think those vids are great. If you hadn't looked at them, take a look at them. And they may seem elementary to some of you, but if you look at the spirit that's floating around through that room, you can learn from just taking that in. Okay, so I'm almost to my 10-minute thing here on my counter. I'm not sure how long how long of a movie I could put on YouTube these days. But also, I just wanted to stop in and say hello. Like always, the last few vids, I've been saying I haven't been that active on the board, and I haven't been. I got a lot of things that God is teaching me personally, and He's showing me some things that obviously I need to know. So, but I do check in. I do come there for my daily Bible reading, which I've been thoroughly enjoying, and I do check out your posts, and I check out the box usually, and there's a new board that Sis Epson put on the box last week called Godlike Productions, which is a hell of a crazy board, but it's got everything. And of course, when you got something that's got everything, it's just like the world. 95% of it is pure shit. But for that 5% that you do stumble across every once in a while, man, there are some cool gems on that board. So I've been kind of cruising that too daily, checking out, using it as a barometer, seeing where the world's mind's at. So I've been enjoying that. So thank you, Sis Epson, for that, putting that link on your board. It's been pretty cool too to check out. Okay, folks from Planet Earth, I enjoyed talking to you, and then we will talk at you again. So good night, Planet Earth.